Welcome to Victor English Story. Lena first saw Daniel on a rainy Thursday evening, when the city looked as if it had been painted in silver and glass. She was standing beneath the narrow awning of an old bookshop, holding a paper bag to protect a novel she had wanted for months. He arrived a moment later, breathless, apologizing to no one in particular as he folded a black umbrella that had already failed him. For a few quiet seconds, they stood side by side, listening to the rain drum against the street and the distant hum of passing cars. Daniel glanced at the book in her hands and smiled. "That one changed my life," he said, as if he were admitting something embarrassingly personal. Lena laughed softly, more because of the warmth in his voice than because of the words themselves. She told him she had bought it on a whim, hoping it might change hers too. The rain did not stop, and neither of them seemed eager to leave. They began talking the way strangers sometimes do when the world briefly forgets to make them afraid. They spoke about favorite endings, cities they wanted to escape to, songs that sounded better at night, and the strange loneliness of crowded places. Daniel told her he worked as an architect, designing spaces where people might one day fall in love or say goodbye. Lena said she restored old paintings, spending her days bringing faded colors back from silence. He said that sounded like magic. She said architecture sounded like faith. By the time the rain became a mist, the shopkeeper was locking the door and smiling at them like someone who had seen stories begin before. Daniel asked if she wanted coffee. Lena said yes before caution had the chance to interrupt her. The cafe they found was small and golden, with fogged windows and a sleepy jazz song playing somewhere near the kitchen. They sat across from each other at first, then somehow at the same side of the table, leaning closer whenever one of them spoke. Time became softer there, measured not in minutes, but in smiles, in pauses that felt full rather than empty. When Lena mentioned she had stopped believing in timing, Daniel looked at her carefully and said maybe timing was just another word for courage arriving late. She did not answer right away, because some sentences do not ask for replies. They ask to be kept. That night ended with a walk to the train station and a promise that felt lighter than a promise and stronger than one too. They met again on Sunday, then Wednesday, then almost every day after that. The city changed around them, but their rituals grew roots. Morning messages became evening calls. Coffee became dinner, and borrowed books became excuses to touch each other's hands. Daniel learned that Lena bit her lip when she was nervous and sang under her breath when she was happy. Lena learned that Daniel always noticed the moon, no matter how busy the street or how tired the hour. Brought her wildflowers once, uneven and wind-touched, because he said perfect bouquets looked like they belonged to someone else's love story. She kissed him then, in the middle of a quiet park, while children laughed in the distance and a dog barked at nothing. It was not a dramatic kiss, not the kind films exaggerate into thunder and violins. It was gentler than that, and because it was gentler, it was truer. Weeks passed, then months, and love settled between them like light in a familiar room. Not every day was effortless. There were tired evenings, missed trains, silences born from fear, and old wounds that neither romance nor tenderness could erase in a single touch. But they stayed. They learned each other slowly, the way one learns a city by walking it rather than studying a map. And one winter night, as snow drifted quietly beyond Daniel's apartment window, Lena rested her head against his shoulder and realized that love was not the sudden fire she had once imagined. It was this, being known without performance, being chosen without condition, and finding, in another person's presence, the peaceful feeling of having finally arrived.